Good to see you. Haven't seen you, some of you, in a while, and some of you, like you, Kat, I'm not sure that I've ever seen you here before. Have you come here before for this? No. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah. Kat was with us in Ghost Ranch, along with Liza Jane and Elizabeth Christine. And who else? A bunch of other people. So here we are. I am still recovering from that deep dive, and I think it's going to take me a while to thread the needle again, so to speak. And Maggie, your talk during the retreat was so moving and so beautiful. I'm still just deeply grateful for the way that you spun the thread, wove the tapestry so beautifully, bringing in the support of Auntie Margaret, especially, and all the beautiful experiences that arose in Australia around the Earth Treasure Vase practice that came to life around it and took it, where it is today. So having you weave those threads and bring everyone who has heard your talk into the depth of the experience, which I don't share much, and maybe you all know those stories, but maybe not quite in the same way as you do now, having heard Maggie recount and weave so beautifully the meaning of it all, which in some ways you can do even better than me, Maggie, because you have such a way. And the spiritual support that you offered to us at Ghost Ranch was deeply felt and deeply needed. We did very powerful work to bring healing to our relations in this land here, where we have the center of the Earth Treasure Vase mandala. And as with many of the Treasure Vase pilgrimages, it's not always easy, but it's always important and good. So, yeah, and we have a full moon coming up to cultivate that practice again on the 20th, Monday the 20th here in the North America, morning of 21st for you all down under. So I'm hoping actually maybe some of you who were at Ghost Ranch could bring the little third generation vessels that you crafted there to the full moon and introduce them to the family. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, yeah, there. So, for those of you who are new here, and I'm seeing a new face named Sarah. I don't know that we've seen each other before, but welcome, Sarah, to this Monday Mindfulness Practice Circle. We've been meeting for a couple of years now, almost, I think, starting with the lockdown of COVID and continuing, which feels like This is something we'll be doing for the long haul now, seeing our way through to a time of healing, balance, harmony. All the practices that we do in this global community are dedicated to that in different ways. So today, I wanted to talk about something that I need to learn. You know how it is, right? We teach what we need to learn. And my husband, Hugh, told me this morning that he thinks I talk about this a lot. I don't know that I do, but in any case, I need to hear it myself right now. And hopefully these little notes will assist all of you too. And that is the notion of stopping. In order to affect the deep kinds of changes of transformation that we're intending, both personally and collectively. So the practice of meditation, provides us an opportunity to stop for a little while. And it's a practice. It's a training. So you might wonder, what are we actually stopping, And because there's a lot of ways of practicing meditation, and some of them are very involved in doing different things. But in this case, what we're doing is we're stopping the habits of the mind that keep us going around and around and around in samsara. Samsara means cyclic existence. And in not having awareness of the habits of our mind, we perpetuate that endless round. And we all do it in different ways. So stopping means stopping that habit of the mind. And one way of facilitating that stopping is to stop the body, to sit still, because the body and the mind are intimately connected. So when we take our seat and we settle ourselves, we're giving ourselves this gift that is going to affect the habits of the mind that perpetuate the suffering of cyclic existence. Are you with me? So sometimes a health crisis will force us to stop. And we all know that place in big or little ways. Maggie, you spoke about how you were stopped for 12 years, in a way. So, usually the body gives us signals. And a lot of times we ignore those signals. And that is certainly true for me. But we have a choice. We really have a choice to be aware and to listen to those signals and to actually just train, in stopping, to take care of ourselves, to take care of coming into balance and harmony with ourselves and with the world around us. So the training to stopping the mind, once we take our seat and settle down, is to breathe. Not to think, not to follow after all of those interesting thoughts, but to note them, oh, there's that. Oh, there's that. But for the period of our practice, to not really engage them. And this is the training, because we're attempting to cut through, actually, the habitual patterns that keep us so involved in all that. And so much of it is so unaware. It just goes on and on and on and on. And it seems so important. But there is something else. There is this beauty and great mystery of something so much larger than ourselves. So in order to touch into that, we train in cutting through the preoccupation and the attachment to all of our thoughts, all of our thinking mind, and just rest in the awareness of the breath, which is a beautiful anchor for the mind and connects the body and the mind. So, we're so habituated to thinking we have to do something all the time that it feels weird to stop. It feels strange to just breathe. Like, hey, I do that all the time, Shouldn't I be connecting with my guides or some, whatever it is, like it spiritually, we think we have to do. We all have those programs, or there's something really intense happening in our lives, and we're trying to figure it out, and it's weighing on us. I got a lot of those right now, and the best thing that I know to do, and the hardest thing often, is to stop and take a time out. Because when I do, then I can usually see things so much more clearly. And I usually then also know how to act in a way that really serves, as opposed to blindly acting out. So breathing with awareness, with mindfulness, is a way to refresh ourselves, to come back to our true source and to the experience of peace, which is so difficult to come by in our world. this is so important for us to cultivate, to be a beacon of peace, to be, like where the ripples go out. But we get so caught by our habits and they're unconscious. So the practice is also about becoming more aware and conscious. And when we stop, it may feel like we're not doing anything. But in fact, we're creating the conditions for something else to happen. We're creating the conditions for that clarity and for that knowing. And we don't have to figure it out. So just taking time to sit still and settle ourselves with the support of others is, as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, it's a radical act. To do the walking meditation, as we will do shortly, I remember him in the airport, where everyone's rushing to the gate, and there he is walking like this. And he's breathing. And all that is going by. And he's not caught in it. And waves are rippling out from him. Some of you have heard the story of the meeting I had with this elder in Mali from the Dogon tribe. And I asked him about the urgency that I feel about the world and about what's happening and about how, we can't work hard enough or fast enough, to bring about the changes. And he looked at me and he just, there was a long pause, and he looked at me and he said, urgency, we don't really have that here. And when he said that, I just, my mind sort of stopped. It was like, oh, wait a minute. And I realized that getting caught up in that sense of urgency actually doesn't help. It only perpetuates the problem, which is getting back to where we started, how our habits only perpetuate more suffering. And so to change, to really change, and to relieve our suffering and the suffering of others, we have to stop. We have to live differently, live in a way that is in service to something larger than ourselves, Gaia, in my terms. She's in us. And that balance and harmony is what she needs most. So the urgency is not really contributing to that balance and harmony. Our blood pressure needs us to slow down. Our backs and hands and knees and hips need us to slow down. Our heart needs us to slow down and actually Take a breath. So let's do that now. Let's do that right now. And find that sense of peace that comes, and that sense of clarity without trying to figure it out, without trying to really do anything, just be with ourselves. So we find our seat. We find our seat, or our comfortable seat, where we can relax for a little while. And yet still be, not fall asleep. Be awake, be aware. Find that balance. Let the belly relax and connect with the breath. And just breathe in and out. Deep and slow. Bringing calm and ease to body, speech, and mind. Over and over and over again. And whenever you notice that the mind is getting busy again, you just come back. Just come right on back. That's it. You don't try to see or know. Trust that process that the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas have been trying to get through to us for 3,000 years. And so we have a poem by Cynthia West called Rosh Hashanah. What will be hides in the invisible new moon. Earth hasn't yet revolved the next story into view. Your body, shadowed as well, is a tree with birds sleeping in branches. Pears litter the ground beneath, unused gifts ripened only to drop. What will be waits for you to kneel in the silence between dark and dawn. Be a mountain sheep high on the cliff, silhouetted against the blue of beginning. With horns curving in back of your head, you are a listening chamber, resounding with the chants that started the world turning. The distant songs ring on the edge of hearing, elusive cloud shadows running down river. In the breath between then and now, what will be is apples dipped in honey, food that dispels fears of the unknown. What will be is patient with you as the waters of sorrow run through your fingers. Your tears leave trails in the mud to germinate wild berries. What will be is bluebirds being birthed out of passing clouds. They circle around, wing beats generating winds that propel you into the dawn light, that fill your new washed hands with calm to soothe the children who cry alone.